You're not too old for anything, mate. If you're not too old to slide in young ladies' DMs with with your size 78 font on your text message, what is wrong with you old men with these big ass font on a text message? Right, could you see if we're both in focus, please? Thank you so much.
Yes, you're both in shot.
Are we both in shot?
We're in shot.
Are we in shot? We're together. Are we together? How are you, Johnny?
I'm good. You know what? It's actually interesting to see a turnout here for this exhibition that Floyd's putting on, and I think here in the UK it's probably taken legs this week, whereas most people not really knowing it's happening. Now they know it's happening. Now the momentum's probably building up slowly but surely. But Floyd, you know, it's more fun for him and serious for Chambers and everybody else around. But again, you can't play boxing. You play boxing, you get hurt. So it's not tiddlywinks. It's not football. It's boxing hurts. And I think if Chambers steps out of line, I think Floyd's probably liable to remind him why he's achieved what he's achieved.
I like what he said. I don't know, maybe it's his arrogance. He said there's only two perfect things in this world. One's God and the other one's my boxing record. And it's that energy, even after 50 fights, even him being 46 on Friday, it just doesn't go.
So the ego of a fighter is something to be questioned, because when you're a world champion, you've got to remember there's 7.888 billion people on this earth. So you've got to think you're the best fighter amongst all the people on this earth.
Did you count that number yourself?
I just know shit. You've got to think you're the best fighter amongst all these people in the world. That's so. If you look at it on the grand scheme of things, you think, "Boss, really?" So for Floyd, he's just saying what's fact. Fact is, I'm unbeaten. Fact is, I've proven I'm the best fighter in the world. You might not like him saying it, and it's better off somebody else saying it about himself, but what's wrong in him saying it? He's only saying how it is. He doesn't care if you not think you're arrogant, blah, blah, blah. He's just saying, well, that's what I can do. What am I saying wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. You know, it's like when people say, Johnny, would you beat Usyk when you were fighting? Yeah. You know, but people are going mad saying, fucking hell, Nelson said he beat Usyk. No, I didn't. I said, when I'm fighting, that's what I believed. Now, if I'm wrong, we're never going to find it out. I wouldn't say it about certain fights, but what I'm saying is Floyd's talking with a champion's mentality. He's talking with a fighter that was confident in his ability to say, well, you know, it's the best fight in the world. And unfortunately, people that don't get it won't appreciate and won't understand it.
It just made me smile because there's something about fighters that the normal population, the general population, the non-boxing population don't get. You said to me once that fighters are special.
They are. Fighters are special. We are a special breed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, boxing trains you to stand at the door of a club or be a coach. And that's it. And you're in the wilderness, you know, when you're not boxing. Because you've got to, it's lonely, it's selfish, it's brutal, emotionally draining. You put yourself under so much pressure. And fighters are special. And you know, I shout and scream about it a lot. The afterlife for a lot of fighters is very, very hard because you can't adjust or become accustomed to anything else but being a fighter.
Floyd, how does he, I know you're not him, I get that, but I've never met such a cool, calm, relaxed. It's almost like he was fathering everyone there. The way he speaks to you, it's like, I'm the father, listen to me, I am the voice of wisdom. And he almost made me feel calm. Do you know that?
But why not? You know, he's a very, very wealthy man, so you don't have to worry about that side of your life. He surrounded himself by his tight friends and family.
I like that.
You don't have to worry about that. So when you're at peace, wealth is there. Wealth is there. So if he's got wealth in the bank, that's cool. But once you've got that with the family and friends and your social circle, then that's what you exhume, that's what you spread, that's what you talk, that's what you eat, breathe, think. And you can see that's what comes out. So he doesn't care what the naysayers will say and what the supporters will say, because he's happy. You know, so if you come across anybody that's happy and at peace with himself, you will get that same vibe.
No, I do. And something that he said that I found quite important as well is, you know, loyalty is something that stands the test of time. It's not something that's like the flavour of the month. He said when he was promoted by certain promotional companies, he was the best thing since sliced bread. However, when he decided to pay $750,000 to buy himself out of his own contract and ended up making $750 million within 3 fights after buying himself out of the contract, then everyone, his old friends became his foes.
So it's a great example
love
to
it.
set for fighters and other sportsmen. But I'll speak for the fighters. Fighters need to understand they are their own business.
Okay.
Being a good fighter is not good enough. You've got to merchandise who you are. You've got to believe in your ability. You've got to have business acumen, because when this game's over, you've got to think, I need something else to do. Our sport is littered with ex-fighters that are lost, don't know what to do with himself. Floyd is whilst he was a fighter, actually has done that. He's become a businessman. He's become, as far on the outside, a successful businessman. This is an example to set for other fighters coming through. Be your own business. Don't be fooled by an old-time promoter or manager saying, no, we don't do that, son. That's all you can do. I'm not saying take your eye off the ball, but what I'm saying is make sure you've got a backup plan. Make sure somebody else is doing your business for you. Make sure you've got somebody crossing T's and dotting the I's. And that way, when the game's over, you think, you know what, I rinsed it. I did as much as I possibly could in the career. That's why my man's happy. He's thinking, it couldn't have gone any better. The worst thing in our sport is when you see a fighter, fighting his guts out and the promoter walks away with more money than he does. Floyd is the guy that's owned every part of his aspect, every part of him as a fighter. That's how it should be.
And it is literally somebody to look up to. You are a brand and you have to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Johnny, we're going to move back over to Sky Sports Boxing. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about the Cruiserweight division. We're going to talk about Lawrence Okolie, and we're going to talk about Richard Riakporhe. The Cruiserweight division is something that's become kind of like close to my heart. I don't know if it's because Sky Sports Box has got almost all of them.
Yeah.
But it's an exciting division. I just want your thoughts on what looked like to me Okolie getting into Richard Riakporhe's head.
Now, the problem's this. Everybody's trying to be Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
As in,
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Because I was thinking that.
everybody's trying to be Anthony Joshua. They're saying it right, they're looking right, presenting themselves right, because they want to be a commercial dream. They want to be on every cornflake packet, every Lucozade bottle. Not everybody's going to be Anthony Joshua. They don't come along very often, and eventually, you look at what that's happening with Anthony Joshua. He's now he's kind of resenting the fact that people are not giving him the respect for being a nice, respectful guy. So he's thinking, hold on a minute. If they can do that, I'm just going to be me like I'm with my boys. Now, the young guys want to come through. I'm not saying don't be respectful, but you're not going to be Anthony Joshua, because that shit will backfire on you. Too nice don't get you, it gets you so far. So what I'm saying is now, you Lawrence and Richard, what they've done is they've actually, their mask has slipped. They've shown a side to them that the public saw, Ross, I didn't know that was there. They've got to remember, you're not going to be Anthony Joshua. Be who you are, be authentic. If you're authentic, you'll get people, you create your own business of who you are. And that's that's how it should be.
It goes back down to the branding again. I think Lawrence Okolie was more or less, I don't think Lawrence Okolie's changed. He's more or less just himself. He is who he is. He's this kind of like smiley, kind of like, the guy that will wind you up at school that just keep on kicking your chair and kicking your chair. That's Lawrence, but it's Richard where it's like, okay.
Maybe Richard, look back on the interview they did. I think Lawrence was in Dubai doing it via satellite.
Yeah, that was
and he's for, you know what, you kind of buoyed me up a little bit. How you spoke, and I don't like that. Richard's from one of the roughest estates in London, man. And he's thinking, yeah, you know what, come to think about it, I don't like how that rolled. So he's putting his foot down. Now, Lawrence is probably, he could cause trouble in an empty room.
Yeah.
For joke.
Yeah.
Mate, but you've got two guys that really believe they'll beat each other. You've got two guys that need to show their character. And I'm quite sure Richard has a character that we've not really seen yet.
Yeah.
We've seen a snippet of. I think what we saw, people think it was fixed, people think whatever it was. These guys have let the mask slip. My only message is to all fighters out there, you're not Anthony Joshua. Be authentic, be yourself. Anthony Joshua's been polite and respectful. I'm not dissing him for being that. He's been polite and respectful, and he's still got the backlash and still got stick. What mine was being disrespectful for and saying and doing things. So he's thinking, why am I doing this when you're giving more love to them than you are to me? I'm being right. I'm being respectful. Yeah. So learn the lesson from AJ.
So when they do fight, hopefully it's something that's being built in the background. We all know that Lawrence Okolie is going to fight David Light. I don't think anybody's particularly worried about that, but I'm not saying this to overlook any fighter. In your point of view, this is a fight that could bubble for the next 12 months, or will it just get dry and boring? Or do you think they should make that fight next?
I think what they should do is Richard should get a world title. No, that's because, listen, why would you do it now? Get all the marbles on the table. We've got a good crop of cruiserweights here in this country. Everybody wants to come and fight it because it gets the attention, gets the crowd, makes the money. Even Chris Billum Smith can get in the mix and boxing for a world title. And then you could have like a Super 6 series, man. All these guys fighting each other. Someone's going to end up with all the belts. Can you imagine how much money that would generate? You know, put them in a pot. If you've got all the fighters, and most of them are under the same promoter, this can happen. So why not? Let it cook. Let it season.
Okay. No, I trust your words. You've been in the game for a very long time. You're an ex-fighter. You're an ex-world champion. You understand how it goes. Yeah. It's just that sometimes, like us, from like the fans' point of view, I just want to see it next, because I know that the spite is there and I know that it's real, and I can just literally imagine the press conference. I hope Richard's there on the 25th doing like the commentary when Lawrence Okolie's fighting, because it just builds it.
So all of a sudden it's captured your imagination.
No, it's always had my imagination, so just nobody weren't listening.
Okay, so now the public is now in on that. They've seen that imagination, thought, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Whereas before, these boys would have slipped to the radar, and it takes them having to almost have a scuff, a premiere for people to think, oh right, I see it. Unfortunately, people are people, you know, and people they'll be attracted to the drama, but instead of being attracted to guys being nice and polite, that's our fight game.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. So either way, it's got people talking about them. Either way, it's probably heightening their profile a little bit more. And I'm not encouraging fighters to do shit like this just to get bums on seat. Be authentic, be real, be who you are.
100%, and we know that they were doing that. Johnny, there's another thing that's like ran through my head. Sometimes these random things run through my head. Is it possible, and it's a way out far-fetched thing that I'm going to say, is that maybe 4 times a year or twice a year we have the UK promoters get together in the central part of the UK, wait there, and they let their top prospects fight each other, literally like the 4 corners. Like you've got Matchroom, you've got Boxer, you've got Wasserman, you've got Queensbury, literally Frank one side, Eddie one side, Ben another side, Callie and Nissa one side, and their fighters are going at it with each other. Is that something that could happen, do you think?
You've got to remember, this is business. And
I know, but...
And these businessmen want the best. And if they think their best man's going to get toned over by somebody else's fighter, they're not going to do it. They're not going to play that game. So if each one of these guys think they've got the best fighter there, this could happen. But in reality, you know, it's the individual's profit. So why would you do that? Why if you're going to fight, A's going to fight B, and I'm your promoter, and I know B's going to kick your ass, but you're making me a lot of money, why am I going to play B's game? Like, no, let's just do our thing. You know, this is why
the power struggle.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. I might make a hell of a lot of money out of you taking you that way, but if I make you fight there and you lose, I'm not going to make as much money anymore.
Okay.
And so that's just how the business works.
It's a shame, because it's something that I thought about, and I just like to see, you know, each of them scowl at each other in the corners. I think it'd be brilliant. Can you imagine the top table with them on it? And it just makes for exciting business.
I'd love to do a gloves are off with them.
Imagine.
God damn. There'll be solicitors sat there like, I'm going to sue him for that. I've got that. I'm going to sue him for that. I've got that. So that's how they drop it.
Listen, Johnny, they're turning the lights off on us. It's a pleasure as always to speak to you.
Yes.
You're amazing, even though you ignore phone calls.
And you're dressed like an assassin.
I'm not. It was raining and it's cold.
All I got was some abuse coming from. Look what I'm thinking.
I don't even know if he's in
That sounds like Red just cussing me out.
even in the view.
Of course I'm in the camera. I'm in the camera. See? You seen the size of his head? Me gone.
Johnny Nelson and October Red Boxing. We should have a little podcast, you know, where I can just rinse you for hours. Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, at October Red, we stay ready.